All right. Good morning, everyone, or good evening, wherever you are. So I appreciate everybody showing up today. I've got Jeremy from DoMoreLife. He's a Thailand vlogger, and he's got an interesting perspective because he actually lived in the Philippines for 9 months, came out here in 2017, spent 9 months here, and then he moved out to Thailand. So he's got an interesting perspective on things because he's lived in both places. So we'll talk a little bit about the differences and cost of living and things like that. I do want to announce some news that I saw from the Philippine Airlines. This doesn't mean international travel is open yet, but it's kind of a window into what international travel could look like when the Philippines does open up. So it says the Philippine government is implementing stricter quarantine and testing procedures for all arriving passengers effective immediately under a new directive from the Interagency Task Force on COVID-19. So what that entails, upon arrival, all passengers will undergo a swab test to be performed by training personnel from the Bureau of Quarantine. While waiting test results, passengers may stay either in a government-designed stringent quarantine facility or in approved quarantine hotel. And apparently it takes about 3 to 5 days for the results. I don't know why it takes so long. I thought they had 10-minute tests available, but that's what they said. Maybe that'll change later. So it says foreign national or all other travelers who are non-OFWs will pay for the costs of their accommodation. So you'll have to pay for your own accommodation. It says, let's see. Travelers whose test results are positive will be transferred to a designated hospital for further medical management. Travelers whose test results are negative will be allowed to move out and undergo a 14-day quarantine at home or at an appropriate local monitoring facility. So even if you're negative, then you have to do a 14-day quarantine. So if that's what international travel looks like, I don't know how many people are going to be signing up for that. So, well, good morning, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Jeremy on, and here we go. How you doing, Jeremy?
What's up, guys? Doing good. How are you, Gio?
Good. So you're over are you in Bangkok or?
I am in the big city of Bangkok. Yes, sir.
Awesome. So that's where I spent my month. I only spent 1 month there, but I really liked it actually. A lot of people don't like all the traffic and stuff, but with the what is it called? The MRT?
Yeah,
Or
the MRT and the BTS provide a
BTS.
outlet for all that travel that you don't like. But everybody doesn't like travel. Traffic. I'm sorry. Everybody doesn't like traffic, so you just get on the
Right.
BTS or the MRT. Now it's a complete full loop now
Yeah.
around Bangkok. So there's really no reason, to complain about traffic. Personally, I drive a motorbike.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just danger freak, adrenaline junkie like that. Because it's very dangerous. That all the news you'll ever hear about Thailand in terms of traffic is that Thailand has the worst death rate in the world as far as traffic goes, and it's true. It's true.
That's true.
But the BTS is very safe. Yes.
Yeah, I have a motorbike out here. I've had a motorbike in Vietnam, and Vietnam was insane too with traffic in Ho Chi Minh City. But do you think it's worse the driving on a motorbike in than the Philippines, like Cebu City or Manila or?
Oh, I had a motorbike in the Philippines as well, and I would say
Yeah,
that it's much worse. I
much
did
worse.
not drive the bike to Manila, so I can't say that it. To me, the bike solves a lot of problems that most people don't think are problems. Like, for example, I can lane split with the motorbike,
Mm-hmm.
so and I can, if I have to, I can ride on the sidewalk and come back on the street to get around things. It's easier to maneuver. The people are used to people being on motorbikes over here, so they kind of
Right.
will let you in, that kind of thing. I think it's more of a solution to a problem than a problem being on a motorbike. It's not that you have to watch like what you're doing. You got to watch what everybody else is doing around you. That's where
Right.
it gets you in trouble. Yeah, definitely.
For sure. So the restrictions that I just read, would you be willing to do that if you were in the U.S. coming over? Would you do that? Do a swab, go into quarantine 3 to 5 days, and
The,
then another 14?
the short answer is no. Real quick, I want to say hey to my guys that are popping up in your chat over there. I see them coming in. I just wanted to say hey to them and thank them for joining us. But no, I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't. And I just got an alert on my phone that's directly tied to what you're talking about. It says that Thailand had originally restricted inbound flights, international flights, inbound international flights until May 31st. And now it's going to be the end of June. I just got that while you were giving your news about the Philippines. So no, 5 days, and then you said you had to previously have a medical certificate, correct?
Right. That was for Cambodia, but this is for the Philippines. They're saying 3 to 5 days to wait for the test results, and then even if you're negative, then you still have to do a 14-day quarantine. I'm like,
I got you. Okay. That's what I'm saying. If I came in and I was negative, then I'm going to be like, see you guys, and that they're not going to let that happen. I've dealt with PNP before that, and they're not going to let you go. They're not going to let you go self quarantine and not keep track of you. That's for sure. This idea of contact tracing is becoming something that could be, it could problematic is the word I'm looking for in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear you. Yeah, it's big government. Well, we'll give a big shout out, a big hello to everyone here. I'm not going to have time to go through and say hello to everyone, so I appreciate everybody coming in. We'll answer the questions as they come in too. Stephen Plum said that testing quarantine sounds extreme, Gio. I cannot do that. Yeah, I couldn't either. I suppose the only way I could do it is if I was actually coming out to Southeast Asia and I was coming here to live. So you could get through the 2 weeks.
If you had a 13A visa and you had a wife and all that stuff, that would be an entirely different story. You could get through it then. But if you're just coming for vacation, you're going to spend, then you're going to need 2 months of vacation because you're going to spend 19 days in quarantine.
Right. Yeah. Well, at least it does say you can do 14 days home quarantine at home. So if you're married.
And that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Danny says changes here in NCR Daily went from GCQ to MGCQ in 1 day. Seems decision making is hard here. That's always in the Philippines.
Is that general quarantine
and then modified general community quarantine, which is it's almost the same, really. So, all right. So Brian says a Thai motorist responsibility is 180 degrees, not 360. They are only concerned with what is in front of them and what is to the left and right. This is not speculation. You can ask them. What do you think? That true?
I don't think that's true at all because I see even motorbike taxi drivers looking in their mirrors, checking lanes before they turn. Sometimes I know I certainly don't travel on a 180 because if you turn into, I've done this before. If you turn into one of the many U-turns that are on some of these larger streets like Succumbent or Sharon or something like that, you go to turn in. If there's a car coming in the lane and you're going to slow down to turn, that car will hit you. And I've had that happen before. Thankfully, I stayed on my bike and everything was good. But that's because when I looked in the mirror, they were so close. They were in the mirror's blind spot.
Right.
So I always drive using mirrors. I try to keep my head on a swivel if possible, and just try to remember what's around me. The hardest part of driving in Thailand is people come out of nowhere and they drive really fast. Like you will see guys on these big
Yeah.
X Maxes or Forenzas, Honda Forenzas, just come out of nowhere, and those are larger bikes, and they come around you with no notice at all.
Yeah, I hear it. At least in Thailand, you have the option of the great transportation system, right? The BTS
Yes,
and
in the Bangkok area, that's
yeah.
true. They're going to extend that all the way down to Pattaya and Rayong, but that it's going
Wow.
to take some years of doing.
And they've opened up a lot more stations along the way too, right?
Yes, they completed
Yeah.
the loop, so the MRT, the
Yeah.
Purple Line, and the BTS are all integrated now.
Right. So Mark says, is a motorcycle driver's license different than a car pickup truck driver's license in Thailand?
Yes. Yeah,
Yep.
you either get a motorbike's license, or you get a car license, or you get a motorbike and a car license. And if I knew what I knew now, I would have went ahead and got the car license, because the only difference in the two is you just have to park the car for the driving test. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Test is still the same. Everything's the same. It's just you just have to park the car.
So quick, a lot of people probably want to know this. So you spent 9 months in the Philippines, you left, went to Thailand. Did you like the Philippines, or did you like certain things, or some things you didn't really like?
Excellent question. When I first got to the Philippines, I, of course, landed on Mactan, or Mactan, however you want to pronounce it. Came over to Cebu. I had been to the Philippines once before for a week, just to see if it was going to work for me. And
Sure.
I always recommend at least a month, guys, but I only had money for a week. So I came over for a week, and that was during my Christmas break. College when I was 36, and then I moved when I graduated college in July of 2017. So I came over to the Philippines, and I was in Cebu, and I was living in the Mabolo district, that area right there near IT Park and Iowa Mall and all the good stuff, right?
I was there. I was there at the same time as you, I guess, in the same area. That's funny.
Probably. But I lived there, and I was having a great time. I was just having a great time. And the only thing is, I was having a lot of problems making friends with the locals, because my understanding at that time, you have to remember, that was only the second time I'd ever traveled internationally. And it was my first time trying to what do they call it? Assimilation, cultural assimilation, right? So that was my first time trying to do that. Luckily, after a month, it got much easier, because there are plenty of just wonderful Filipino people, whether they be man, woman, whatever. They're wonderful. And like any other country, they have the opposite of wonderful too. And unfortunately, when I moved to the northern Luzon, I went all the way up near Baguio. I was in the Nueva Vizcaya area up there, Solano, Bambang, all that stuff. And that's where I was just miserable. Some of it was due to out of control sociopathic expats. And some of it was due to the fact that I was in such a lonely place. I mean, there was just nothing to do, right? And I had all day to do whatever I wanted to do at that time. So there was the situation was not improving in the Philippines, and I didn't know if I should go back to Cebu or not. So I was like, well, the original intention of you leaving America is to travel all of Southeast Asia. So let's get it going, and let's go to Thailand. So with the situation not improving, I came to Thailand on April the 13th of 2018.
And do you like it better than the Philippines?
I do, much better.
So a lot of people say, oh, the Philippines has the friendliest people. They're just big smiles. They're friendly. They can speak English. I mean, so in Thailand, do you find people to be just as friendly?
In Thailand, I find people that are actually, in many cases, more friendly. Now, I love many of the Filipinos in
Mhm.
general. I find that the Filipino people are, for the vast majority, are some of the friendliest people in the world. They will help you
Sure.
through everything. What I do find is that, when you give somebody something, I did this, I talked about this on the stream. When you give somebody something, it's a gift, right?
Right.
You don't have to, you don't expect anything in return. And I
Right.
find here in Thailand, that's true most of the time. Whereas in the
Hmm.
Philippines, there's a little underlying connotation that, if I'm going to give you something, I'm going to expect something from you at some point in time.
Right.
Um, that is just an observation from me, not to rag on the Philippines in any way, form, or fashion. I'm just saying, to me, that seems to be a cultural difference. There's nothing wrong with it because
Sure.
that's their culture. But that seems to be what I've experienced so far.
How about the English factor? Does that
The
ever?
English factor is huge. If you don't know any Thai when you first get here,
Mhm.
you need to go to a tourist spot. Like, you need to land and then go to a tourist spot. Bangkok, Pattaya, Phuket, Krabi, um,
Chiang Mai.
any of the, yeah, Chiang Mai, somewhere where there are going to be people that speak English, because the Thais in those areas have to speak some kind of English in order to deal with the customers and to deal with the expats and that kind of thing.
Right.
Until you learn a little bit of time, enough to communicate, which is
Hmm.
not very hard to do if you have time, but
Right.
many times I just don't have the time to sit down because I work a full time job, and as
Sure.
many hours as I spend on YouTube, I've considered it a full time job before as well. So when you're
Yeah.
working two full time jobs, you really don't have time to do that. But English is definitely a factor.
Yep.
It's less of a problem in the Philippines, but I will uh, tell you that if you go to really remote provincial locations, such as where I was in Nueva
Hmm.
Vizcaya, there was no the same amount of English spoken there would be like the same amount of English spoken in a rural Thai community.
Yeah.
Very
Right.
little. So you just have to put your place in the right spot.
Very true. Yeah. I mean, when I was in Bangkok, I was there for a month. I didn't really have any problems. You go into places. Often there's pictures on the menu. You just kind of point at what you want. It's not. I didn't find it that difficult. Even in Vietnam, when I was there, it really wasn't that big of a problem. Yeah, sometimes I would get the iced coffee when I wanted a hot coffee, but you know,
Right.
you laugh at it. So a big question a lot of people probably want to know is what about the dating? Because in the Philippines, let's be honest, dating is quite easy. What about Thailand?
It's also easy, but you.
Mhm.
Hmm, I don't know how. Let me try to make sure I keep this as PC as possible. Dating in the Philippines is extraordinarily easy.
Right.
Extraordinarily easy. That you can see anybody you want to pretty much anytime you want to. In Thailand, it's a little bit different, and the reason for that, you can still get. I mean, it that finding a date is not a problem here
Right.
either. But what you will find is more of the women hold down full time jobs here. I see you hike, but
Mhm.
most of the people or the women hold down full time jobs,
Yep.
and I find that not to be the case in most areas of the Philippines that I was into. I'm not saying that's the vast majority of
Yeah.
Filipinos don't hold down full time jobs, because they may very well do that. But here in Thailand, when you meet if you're looking to meet a quality girl, she's going to have a job and some
Right.
type of education, because they have education is a huge priority here in Thailand.
Yeah.
So the problem comes in if you want to date somebody, then you have to date them kind of like you do in the West. You know, when everybody gets off work, you can go out at night, and if you stay out too late, then you've ruined yourself for the next day of work and that kind of thing.
Right.
Whereas in the Philippines, the first girl and the second girl
Hmm.
did not have full-time jobs. They
Right.
had, you know, like recreational jobs, or one girl
Right.
was a singer in a band,
Uh-huh.
and the other one I just met on Tinder. So there was no, they could come and go anytime, so we could spend plenty of time
Yeah.
together. In Thailand, it's just not quite that easy. Just not quite
Right.
that easy. I don't know if that sums up your
Yeah.
question, but you know that's my thoughts on it. That's my experience. People are going to think I'm bashing the Philippines in this live stream, and I'm really
Mm.
not. I'm just pointing out
Right.
the differences that I've seen.
And I totally agree because in the Philippines, for example, they're with you 20. They want to be with you 24/7. And
Mm-hmm.
at first, you know, when you first meet the girl and things are fantastic, yeah, you want to spend time. But at some point, you need to have some space, and they're with you just 24/7. And personally, I kind of like, you know, I like having, you know, an Asian girl out here in Asia. That's why a lot of us come out here. That's part of the reason, anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, we kind of want a Western type lifestyle where, you know, she's working and we're dating, and I don't want a girl to move in immediately with me, and I don't want to be with her
No.
24/7. And in Thailand, you know, the girl I was with for over a month, she was an accountant. She ran her own business, so she had, you know, she had work to do, and she couldn't be with me 24/7. And she had a professional job. She had a car. She you know, she would go out and buy groceries and like cook for me, and she, you know, versus here, you're pretty much going to be paying for everything. I mean, everything.
Right.
But in Thailand, like they're not going to ask you for taxi money if they say, "Hey, can you meet? Let's meet at this place." You're not giving the girl taxi money, and you know what I mean. And in the Philippines,
Uh,
it's,
well,
or
they
does that happen?
that happens, but it depends. That so that's kind of going to tell you what kind of caliber of girl you're dealing with. That's going to
Mm,
be, if she needs taxi money to get to and from you, then you're probably dealing with a girl that doesn't work, or that is only in
mm,
it for you know, the physical part.
right.
If you most of the girls that I've seen, I think only one has asked me for taxi money over here.
Mm,
So that's, you know, that's usually not a problem. When
right.
you start playing the nightlife game, then you get into, you know, taxi money and all that stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that's a good way to see whether you have a good girl or not. I mean, in Vietnam, it was the
Yeah.
same. They all had their own motorbikes, and they would just, hey, let's meet here, and so there was never any like, hey, you know, I need taxi money or nothing like that.
Right.
I go more hike. Is there a lot of sick water buffaloes in the Philippines? Yeah. Can you send me 10,000 pesos, please?
Yeah. There's a lot of sick water buffalo in the Philippines.
Scott says in Bangkok, WeChat is the most underrated dating app with the near me function. Yeah, it does have that, but that's more of a Chinese app. In
It
Thailand,
is.
they use Line, right?
Right.
Line is, yeah. So that's
We don't use WeChat hardly at all over here unless you have Chinese connections.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So Carlos said, "Hi, can you explain the new immigration law and also the implement of health insurance requirement? What about the money you have to deposit in a Thai bank?" Before we jump into that, I will say there are a couple of options that guys don't think about. If you know, because my last guest, Mike, you know, live your ass off. He's got a lot of money, so he's like, yeah, no problem with the retirement visa. I'll just dump, you know. But a lot of guys, realistically, we don't have that kind of money, and So a couple ways you can go about it is you could find a teaching job, and you could get a work visa. Yeah,
That's what I did.
and that's what I was, in Vietnam and even in the Philippines I did. So another one is you can actually take Thai lessons, right, to learn Thai. You can also and get an education visa. They'll even allow cooking school at
Yeah,
certain
but
places.
he's specifically referring to the retirement visa is what
I
he's referring to.
I think so. Yeah. So you need to have health insurance, right?
Yeah, you can have health insurance. Personally, I get mine through AIA. Hey, Jim. I get mine through AIA, and it costs me about 34 or 36,000 baht, which is about 12 to 1,400 US dollars, to get insurance for the entire year, zero deductible, 2 million baht worth of covers. One was emergencies, one is hospital and doctors and all that stuff.
Okay.
But when you apply for a retirement visa, they give you health insurance options that are
Okay.
not that expensive, and that will cover you in your situation. As far as depositing money in the bank, if you're single on a retirement visa, well, if you're on a retirement visa, you're technically single anyway. So you would have to deposit 800,000 Thai baht in a bank, and leave it there for at least 3 months. The the underlying thing that people don't understand is it. You technically you can take some of that money out, but when you go for your 90-day check-in, you have to have that money back in the bank. So 800,000 baht is a lot of money. Or you can have 3 months on your initial retirement visa, and you need to show a minimum of 65,000 baht coming into the bank each month. And then from there, you would just continue to show that 65,000 baht coming in each month. So there's two ways to do it. Now, if you go with the marriage visa, it cuts those numbers basically in half almost. It cuts the 800,000 in the bank to 400,000, and it cuts the 65,000 a month to, I believe, 40 or 45,000. Not 100% sure on those visas. If you want expert advice, hey, Stuck. But if you want expert advice on like non-B visas, then I can help you. I can definitely help you there. I wouldn't say expert. I don't ever call myself an expert, but I have a lot of experience with non-B visas.
Gotcha. Okay. What Jay says, what is the best way to go about finding a good girl in Thailand? Big city versus smaller towns. What do you think?
Smaller towns are generally going to produce better character, just because of the way that they're raised. The big city, it's like dating in the West. You're going to have to go through until you find one that matches with you. And in order to do that, the best two apps I recommend to people, and you may find luck on other apps, but Thai Friendly is a great app to meet women, and also Tinder. And the Tinder over here is not like Tinder in the Philippines. Okay. I mean, it can be, it can be, but it's very easy to learn. Like for example, God, I want to keep it as clean as possible. The transgender people over here, will tell you up front that that's who they are. There's in the Philippines. I remember I was going on a date, my very first date in the Philippines. I went to the mall and I was waiting on her to get there. She came in the mall and she called me. She says, "By the way, I'm transgender. You don't have a problem with that, do you?" And I'm like, "Why didn't you tell me that to begin with?" I don't have a problem with the way anybody lives their life, but I'm not interested in that. It doesn't.
Well, I went on a date when I first got to Cebu, actually about 4 months later, and she showed up, and she was like ready to burst. She was like 8 months pregnant, and she never said anything. And all her pictures were of her, before she was pregnant, of course. But she never said
Mhm.
anything whatsoever. And I show up, and at that time I was in the. Now, if that ever happened, I would just say, "Hey, here's taxi money home. I don't want to waste your time.
Right.
I'm not interested." Back then, I was still kind of naive, so I did buy her dinner, and talk to her. But I said, "Yeah, I'm not interested." But yeah, they tend to withhold some information, huh?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And Thai women will do the same thing. It's just that
Right.
I think I've learned so much by being. The people are going to think I hate the Philippines, man. I really don't. But I learned so much by getting scammed so many times
Right.
by women in the Philippines, right? Whether it be a money scam, an emotional scam, or just some kind of mind F,
Right.
I learned a lot there. So when I got here to Thailand, I just implemented what I'd already known,
Right.
and I found myself in this one category of this is the kind of girl I'm going to look for. So I've been able to avoid most of the petty stuff, so to speak.
Right. Well, the Kingly Way said, "Hey, Gio and Jeremy, watched your channel before I went to Thailand last year. It was good info and had a blast on good old Bangkok last year."
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Let's see.
Good.
Can an older guy hook up with a young girl in Thailand or Vietnam? I don't the wording on it, Mark. I'm assuming you mean 18 or older. I would imagine they're okay with age gap, just like
Yeah,
there in the Philippines.
as long as they're over 18, yeah. Now, I will tell you, but the problem well, not the problem, it's actually a good thing, is in Thailand, that age gap is likely to be a lot smaller unless you have oodles and oodles and oodles of money,
Right. Well, the one thing from my experience, and again, I nothing against Filipinos, but in Thailand they do tend, because of diet, I guess mainly. I would attribute it to diet, but they seem to maintain themselves much better as far as
For, for the
figure
most
and
part.
everything. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
For
it
the
says,
most part.
Jeremy, can you talk about meeting good Thai girls and about the age gap? A lot of expats I know there are retirement age, but they have women in their mid upper 30s not interested in bar girls.
No, yeah, no, don't slide down that slippery slope of
Bar
taking
girls.
home. Now, listen, I can tell you with 100% certainty, I know guys that made that work with the bar girls.
Mm-hmm.
But in the back of their mind, they're always on the lookout. They're always wondering, when they tell them they got to go to the store for something, do they really have to go to the store, or are they going to earn 2,000 baht? So don't
Yeah.
make that mistake, please. Now, as far as the retirement age, I know their retirement age, but they have women in their mid, their upper 30s. So
Right.
that's pretty much that. You would see that a lot. It's very rare over here. Well, it's not rare, but it's less
Yeah.
common than it is in the Philippines to see like a 21-year-old with a 61-year-old. It's just less
Right.
common. But with that being said, I can tell you with 100% certainty that it's not a. I'm trying. I want to make sure I keep everything nice and neat for your channel, Gio. it's if you're retired over here and you're
Mm-hmm.
with some girl in their 20s, right?
Right.
It has to be because, well, 99.9% of the time, it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
because you're taking care of everything,
Right.
and financially, that kind of thing. Otherwise, mid 30s is probably right on point, and most of
Yeah.
those girls are going to have jobs and they're going to be working, that kind of thing.
Right.
And if not, and you can afford to take care of them, then so be it.
Yeah. I hear you. So Go More Hike says, in the Philippines, do they have the dowry system where the man pays the dowry? Vietnam, same question. As far as I know, Vietnam or the Philippines does not have a dowry. But in the Philippines, the family does kind of expect you to maybe throw some money monthly. Not always, but sometimes. But Thailand does kind
I
of have
got
a dowry, right?
Thailand's dowry system is kind of going because it's not really implemented as much as it used to be, is my understanding, and that's
Okay,
because
good.
it mostly applies to HISO families.
Okay,
It's more of a symbolism than anything else.
right.
And I've never heard of a dowry system in the Philippines or Vietnam either. But
Right.
I do know in the Philippines, when you, let me tell you, when you marry a Filipino or when you start dating a Filipina, as soon as she
Mhm.
takes you home to meet mom and dad, then you owe mom and dad. That's that's pretty much the way it works over there. That's why I
Right.
was very, very lucky to get the girls that I had because they were all independent. They survived independently, so
Yeah.
I was happy with that.
Well, I've been pretty lucky as far as like I really haven't run into that too much, but I can see it happening for sure. Um, yeah, it happens.
It does.
Uh, does Thai insurance cover pre-existing conditions?
Depends on what the condition is.
Yeah.
That's the short answer.
Um, I
If you
will.
have like, go ahead,
Oh,
Jim.
I was gonna say down in the link in my description, I do have affiliates with two insurance companies. One's kind of health and medical, where it follows you around. It doesn't cover pre-existing, but then I have another one down there that covers cancer, COVID-19, and pre-existing conditions. So you guys can get a quote down there. I have insurance myself. Right now I don't have the major one. I have more of the travel and health insurance one because I don't know. Maybe I'll end up in Malaysia, maybe I'll be in Thailand, and so it follows
Right.
me. And the cool thing is, it will, even if I go back to the USA for like 2 weeks, it covers me while I'm in the US, even just for a 2 week vacation. So that's why I chose that one.
That sounds like
Yeah,
Cigna or something
uh,
up in that
it's
neighborhood.
called Safety First. It's like the largest nomadic insurance company in the world, I think. But
But
yeah.
they won't take you with pre-existing conditions.
Well, there's two of them. There's one that's just kind of designed for you traveling about, and and you can use it as long term. And then there's a second one that will cover pre-existing and stuff. So yeah.
Cool. I didn't know that. Very cool. Tie insurance, yeah, it basically just depends on the pre-existing condition. In most cases, they're not going to cover pre-existing, so you have to find your own insurance that will cover pre-existing, and that is accepted in Thailand, which can be extremely difficult. Just to be honest with you,
Right.
just to be honest.
So Jay's a YouTube member, so thank you for that, Jay. Jay says, if you get an elite visa, do you get that money back at some point?
Not to my knowledge. The elite visas start at 500,000 baht. They go all the way up to 2 million. So the elite visa at the 500,000 baht level is going to be a 5 year visa. It's basically an enhanced tourist visa. You can't work on that visa, but you do get special privilege, concierge services, and uppity type things. With the million baht visa, that's a 10 year visa.
Mhm.
That's even has more perks, so to speak, to it,
Mhm.
medical checks and all that stuff. But to my knowledge, it does not cover insurance, so you still have to have
Mm.
insurance. An elite visa is a great. When you're my age, I'm 39. When you're
Right.
my age, you basically have one of two ways to stay in Thailand long term. Okay, and
Mhm.
that is either get a non-B visa and a work permit and have a job,
Right.
or get an elite visa. That's pretty much it because
That's it.
that is it's the visa system over here is far, in my opinion, it's far more. It's not difficult. It's just more complex
Right.
than the Philippines system. Like in the Philippines, you can land, and as long as you keep re-upping it every other month or whatever they're at now, you can stay for 3 years, leave for 24 hours, come back, start all over.
Yep.
Um, Can't do that in Thailand at all. Can't do it.
Not anymore. Not really.
Mm-mm.
Let me quell this real quick. Dave says, "Hey Gio, how are you? I heard a few people on Paul Old Dog channel saying that it was you, Enrique, that had an issue with something Paul said in his videos. Not accusing you, just something I read." Well, Paul is my friend, Enrique's friend as well, and I don't even really watch other vloggers' videos. So I have no problem with anything Paul said or does, and I don't think Paul has any issue with me or Enrique either. So we'll just, it's constantly happen. Let's see here. Let's see here. Go more hike. I'm shocked that a woman withholds info. Shocked. Amazing, right?
Yeah, Go More Hike is a channel member of mine, and he's also a longtime moderator. He's been around for a long time. He's also a good friend. We talk on the phone, that kind of thing, and I know specifically what he's referring to, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
So Eric Ko says, in the Philippines and Thailand have a lot of good-looking office girls. Why don't you guys look for office working girls? Well, I think that's a fantastic thing to look for. A girl who's
It
working.
is fantastic. The reason I don't look for office working girls is because I spend my days in an office working. And that's pretty much why. So, when I get home, it's 9 hours I work a day.
Wow.
Monday through Friday, and that schedule may be changing to include some Saturdays. Thailand, I'm very grateful for the company that I work for right now, because through all this, we've gotten paid, and with no retractions on the pay, no percentage on the pay, full pay. We've gotten paid through this, which is incredible. So I'm very, very extremely grateful to the company I work for. I will say this. Because the school year has gotten bounced around so much, it's going to be a hard year of teaching, because we're going to be working over lots of extra hours to get caught up. Yeah, we really are. I see Stuck's comment there, and I've heard that before from Enrique, what he's talking about.
It's true. Yeah, in Vietnam, it's rare to see a large age gap. The only way you're going to see a large age gap in Vietnam is you must be filthy rich, and she's a gold digger. Other than that, well, I'll tell you, when I was living in Vietnam, I was 47. I'm 48 now, and when I was living in Vietnam, I went on a good handful of dates, and the youngest I dated was a girl who was 29 and actually turned 30 while I was dating her. So, but that's 17.
That's still not too bad.
Great.
That's a pretty good age gap.
So, but you're not gonna date a girl who's 19, 20 years old if you're in your late 40s. That's not gonna happen. Realistically, you're gonna date girls in their 30s. 40s, depending on what your age is. So, yeah.
100%.
Let's see here. All right. So Brian Chase says, dating sites. If the person you are talking to doesn't have a lengthy Facebook profile with recently posted pictures, move on. That's ironclad. No exceptions. No lengthy Facebook profile. That's trouble.
See, I don't even get into the Facebook profile. To be honest with you, I just take my chances. One thing in Thailand, everybody drinks coffee. Okay, so you can have you can determine all of that for yourself in 10 seconds when you meet for coffee. And the good news is, if you've met somebody that is not the same person in the picture or whatever, and they say, "Hey, are you Jeremy from blah, blah, blah," whatever. And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh, I'm such and such." And I can tell that, she's been lying to me the whole time we've been chatting, that kind of thing. I'm going to say something to the effect of, I'll go through the line and say, they don't have my kind of coffee here. I'm so sorry. I'm going to leave. And just leave.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
That's what I like about, in the old days on a first date, we didn't really have the coffee culture. So on a first date, everybody would always go to dinner.
Right.
So if you're on a date with somebody that you can tell there's no chemistry, you got to sit through ordering dinner and make up conversation. But now I don't do a first date that's anything more than just a coffee. Meet for coffee, and if it's not going good, you can be like, oh, something's come up. I gonna have to get going. Or if the date's going good, you could move on to go do something else. So
it's a good way to save money or invest money.
right. Why do I want to spend money on a full dinner when I don't even know if there's chemistry yet? So
Exactly.
Coffee dates, can't go wrong with a coffee date.
100%.
Let's see. So Maxwell, with Thai age gaps, I was referring to options for guys that aren't to the 50-year-old retirement age yet, because people like Gio and me aren't to that age yet. Would a 25-year-old date a 45-year-old? I think they would.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, Max. I didn't understand your question before.
Especially if you keep yourself in somewhat decent shape and you don't turn into a,
That's one thing about Thailand is, of course, the girls want somebody that's kind of fit, but I'm not fit. I'm just not, and I wish I was. But I've been able to maintain relationships here, and they really don't put a ton of judgment on how good you look. If you can make it, it's a little bit different from the Philippines, because if you can make a Thai girl laugh, then she's going to show some. A Thai woman looks at you like, can he make me laugh? And do we have common interests? That's what they want to know. Those are the only two things really that matter. Everything else will sort itself out. And that's how that's been my experience. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but that's been my experience.
That makes sense. So, Carlos, I think Philippines still is much easier in immigration, 2.6 or 1 year renew visa for a year, 8 years. Yeah. Philippines does have a very easy visa situation going on, and that's what makes it attractive for a lot of people. Also, and they speak English. The dating is easy, but you do have places like Cambodia that's super simple as well. Cambodia, you can do like a year easily, I think. But as far as, let's talk about something different. What about, so you lived here for about 9 months and then over in Thailand. What about cost of living? Do you find yourself spending more money there or here?
I think I found myself spending more money. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I spend more money in Thailand, but that's because I do more stuff than I did in the Philippines. I didn't go out to, I would take once a month trips in the Philippines, and I would go to a new town or a new place or whatever, so I could shoot some travel videos. Here, I try to go somewhere about every weekend when it's normally scheduled. We've all been doing live streams for the last 45, 50 days or whatever. But normally I try to go out every weekend, go somewhere. I really enjoy going to Pattaya, and people are going to say, oh man, he's one of those. No, I have a lot of friends in Pattaya, and I have a on again, off again relationship in Pattaya, which is not with a barter or anything like that. But I enjoy going there. It's pretty close. I know people there, so I can get a taxi a little bit cheaper. I can get a hotel room a little bit cheaper. That kind of thing. I know the city very well, so it's very easy for me to navigate around. I recently went to Cham and Hua Hin. So, those trips cost money, but you would still be very surprised at how cheap it is, because
Right.
you can go from Bangkok over to Hua Hin and then take a ferry over to Pattaya for a couple hundred baht, or 1,000 baht, which is about 30 US bucks,
Mm-hmm.
and come back up through Bangkok. So you could do a whole little tour, which is what we did about 2.5 months ago. I think we did that, and
Mm-hmm.
I got some good content from there. And it just takes I guess, a little bit more. You have to be able to self budget a little bit better over here, in my opinion.
So do you think you spend about the same, you think?
It's roughly about the same. Yeah.
Roughly. But if you're comparing cost, but what about the quality of living? Would you say the quality of living's better in Thailand or?
Quality of living is much higher, in my opinion, over here than it is
Yeah.
in the Philippines. I mean, you don't have places in the cities where I live. Now, up in Isan, it can get
Mhm.
a hole in the ground for a toilet and the whole 9 yards. So
Right.
it can get bad up there. But where I live, um, even Cebu, and I love Cebu, love it.
Yeah.
It's a great city, but even there, the infrastructure and other things, like, compare it to Bangkok. I mean,
No
Thailand's
comparison.
at least a decade ahead, at least.
I agree. Yeah. So Agnes says it's a culture. When you marry Filipina, you marry their whole family. I feel sorry for those who need to support their in-laws before getting into marriage. Ask your girl how many you will support. The one thing I will say is usually it's not a lot. So I mean, if you live here and you could agree on, hey, I'm going to send 5,000 pesos a month. That's what your family gets, $100. So it doesn't have to
$100.
be. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a lot, but it can pop, it can turn into a lot. They can be like, oh, mom's sick, she needs the hospital bill and this and that. So
Mm-hmm.
you open up a rabbit hole, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right.
Try to get away from that.
Go more hike, Gio in the Philippines. What is your channel dedicated to? I'm a new subscriber. Well, travel and life throughout the Philippines. However, I plan on leaving the Philippines when I get a chance. I've been here over 3 years, going on 4 years with a 4-month stint in Vietnam. And really, I probably plan on either, it depends on what country opens up first, but Malaysia, because I had a job lined up. But Thailand or Vietnam is not totally off the realm of possibilities either. It just depends on what country opens up and what kind of jobs available. So let's see here. So Eve Zanders, I have a BPO girlfriend. She's financially independent. Only downside is her working hours, but I prefer this type of relationship. Yeah, I personally,
I
I think it's
assume he's talking
better.
about the bank, right?
No, I think he means a call center, the call center in the
Oh,
Philippines,
okay,
BPO.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, they can be kind of long hours and work a lot, but honestly, it's healthier for a relationship versus being with each other 24/7. Out of this whole pandemic thing, they say there's either going to be two things happening. There's going to be a lot of divorces, right? Or
Or
there's
a
going
lot
to
of
be
babies.
a lot of babies. Yeah, one of the two.
Yep.
So stuck in Florida. I've done lunch dates for 30 years. It works better for me and no pressure on her after the meal. Yeah, I mean, if that's what you like, yeah, it's fine. That's just for me. I like that I can either get out quickly if I need to, or I could just say, hey, I'm having a good time. Do you want to go grab dinner or go to the park or whatever,
Stuck
personally.
always makes very good points, and uh, it, lunch dates can work great for people that don't work over here. But if you're working, a lunch date is nearly impossible unless you've got somebody working in the same small vicinity that you're in where you can meet up for lunch.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to have to go out at night.
Yeah. True. So Daniel, this just in, I think this goes back to what the alert you got actually. Thailand extended incoming arriving international flights until the end of June.
Yep, that's correct.
So,
I just got it right before the stream started. That's true. No inbound international flights to Thailand until at least the end of June.
That guy says, Jeremy, you're fluent enough in Thai to make girls laugh. I think you're probably talking about girls who can speak some English, right?
Yeah, no, he's picking at me. He comes on the channel and picks a lot. He's
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's giving me a hard time. But I don't have to say it in Thai to make them laugh if they understand English.
It's a baited question.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, lunch dates are in the middle of the day. That makes the women feel much more at ease.
Again, if you have time to do it during the middle of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of guys work and stuff, so yeah. Let's see here. So Brian Chase, it's not uncommon to meet a Thai in her late 30s or early 40s who looks like she's in her 20s. In the Philippines, it seems like once they hit 33 or 35, the wheels fall off.
We were just talking about that.
Well, I'm glad you said it, Brian, so I don't have to say it. But I hate to, I don't. And honestly, I don't blame Filipinas. It's not their fault. It's just the diet that they have. It's just so unhealthy. So much sugar and oil and fried food. Whereas in Thailand, they're eating a lot of vegetables and Vietnam is the same way. So let's see here. So stuck in Florida, Brian Chase, Thai ladies are fanatical about their skin, constantly putting coconut oil on it.
They are, all Thai women are fanatical about the way they look, period. Their external appearance is of the utmost importance to them. Same thing in the Philippines.
Yeah.
The only difference in here and the Philippines I've noticed is there are a lot less skin whitening products here in Thailand versus in the Philippines. Everything in the Philippines has got whitening in it. It seems like, but you can find stuff, face lotions and that kind of thing that does not have a whitening treatment in it. And I wish these girls would understand that for most of us,
right,
I came over to this area of the world because I didn't want to date a white girl. Like I enjoy the brown skin. So let your brown skin live on, girl. Making yourself whiter is kind of defeating the purpose of me being here. I'm not,
right.
I'm just, I have a thing for brown skin, and I understand the thing about it. If your skin's browner, that means you're poor. If it's whiter, that means you have more money. That kind of thing. But that's to me, that's irrelevant. I just don't care.
Yeah. Well, this goes back to what we just actually already answered. Just curious, what do you think the difference is in the way the Filipinas age more in their 30s? Do you think it's all they eat a lot more fried foods and junk foods? Body conscious? I think so. I knew a lot of Vietnamese girls and Thai girls that were really into fitness, like out exercising all the time. I think they're much more into fitness too, and yoga and things like that. Yeah.
They are. They definitely are.
Okay, that guy says, Jeremy, I wasn't picking at you making girls laugh. I was just afraid that I would never be that good at Thai. Was just worried about not being fluent myself.
That's not, you don't have to worry about being good at Thai. And I tell you, the best thing in the world is to learn a little bit of Thai, like just a few phrases, right? And try to say them to the girl that you're with, and you will have a blast because she will teach you how to say that phrase correctly, and she will laugh the whole time that you're not saying it correctly. And you can even, intentionally not say it correctly to keep the flow going or whatever. So that's a win-win on that situation. That guy.
And honestly, I think it's probably the same in Vietnamese and Philippines. If you try to learn the language and you mispronounce it, they laugh. They just find it so funny. But the
Exactly.
important thing is you try to learn a little bit, right? So.
Yep, definitely.
So Daniel says this just in. Daniel's our on the ground news reporter in Thailand. Thailand will deploy 3,000 traffic police starting today to manage traffic congestion as shopping malls reopen. So,
well, I managed they would. Yeah, the shopping malls officially reopened today, so I'm not going to a shopping mall today because it's going to be it'll be bedlam and mayhem. I'm not going. I'll go sometime this week. I got a new camera to buy, and I'm looking forward to all of that.
Yeah. For your vlogging, you upgrading your equipment?
I'm upgrading finally. It's been a long time coming. Yeah.
What do you use? Do you use a GoPro or do you use a?
I have a GoPro. I have a Canon M50. I have an Olympus EM5 Mark II. But the EM5 Mark II is the best vlogging camera. However, it is broken, and it only works when it wants to work. So I'm actually going this time. The Canon doesn't provide enough stabilization to use for vlogging without a gimbal, and I don't want to carry around a gimbal. So I'm going after the EM1 Mark III, which just came out about 4 months ago, and it has so many stops to stabilization. We actually talked about this on my channel yesterday. I'll be able to hand hold and vlog with it, and you won't know the difference. So
very cool.
I'm excited.
So Eve Zander says, before Philippines, I was in, I don't know how to pronounce that, Chiang
Watana.
Working. I visited a girl in Khon Kaen. And I luckily speak a little Thai, which was essential up there. Yeah, that would help.
Yeah, I agree.
So Ross wants to know your YouTube site and would like to check it out. So I think it's right on your hat.
DoMoreLife.
DoMoreLife. So check it out.
DoMoreLife. That's it.
Let's see here. So Lou Thorpe, for jobs in Thailand and the Philippines, what kind of monthly income are we talking about for foreigners? Well, I'll tell you this about the Philippines. If you're talking about finding a job here, forget it. Next to impossible. I don't know. I just kind of fell into the job at the right. I was at the right time at the right place. But typically it's almost impossible to find a job in the Philippines. They don't want to hire foreigners. Thailand, on the other hand, will hire foreigners. What do you think the average salary is for like a teacher?
For an incoming teacher with just a bachelor's degree, and you do need, regardless of what people say, if you want to teach and it'd be 100% legal, you need a bachelor's degree. And the more certificates you have on top of that, the better. Like I have a bachelor's degree in communications and a TEFL. So average salary, starting salary is going to be between 25,000 and 35,000 baht a month. So 35,000 baht is roughly about 1,000 and much 500. About 1,200 bucks is about what the starting salary is for a teacher. Now, good thing about teaching over here is you don't necessarily have to have a master's degree to teach at an international school, but you do if you have enough experience. And teaching over here is the primary job for expats because there's a list of jobs that Thailand will not let you do. Also, you need to understand that you get 3 waivers over here. There's a possibility of the 4th, but that's a whole different thing. You get three waivers. So for each school you go to, you get 2 years, a 2-year temporary teaching license. If you change schools, like if you go for 1 year at one school and then you want to go to another school in another part of the country for the next year, you give up that 1 year waiver. So you start a new waiver. So now you're on waiver number 2, and that you still get 2 years with it. But if you go to another school the third year, then you're on waiver number 3, and you have got to go to a college, either online or here in Thailand, and get your master's certificate in education.
Wow.
Got to do it. Or something that transfers your bachelor's degree into an education degree.
So it's better to stick with one school.
Absolutely. The only reason I left my school in Rayong was because of the Filipinos. To be honest with you, I mean, it was just drama, and yeah, they had pulled in some outside YouTubers that really wanted to lay into my life, and I just got tired of it, so I came to Bangkok.
Gotcha. That happens. There is a lot of gossip. It's the national pastime in the Philippines.
It definitely
totally
is.
True. So Dave Rich says, it's funny when you say it's better if you're in shape, but I've had more Filipinos scared of me because I look like a WWF wrestler. Thai girl's not as scared. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. But because the Thai, in my opinion, the Thai girl doesn't care as much about what you look like. I mean, they really don't. If you're big and much, in fact, Dave, I would not argue with you, but I would debate that last sentence about the girls not being scared, because some of the Thai, it depends on the girl. Some of the Thai girls that are here do get scared of a big buff man. I mean, you look at people like one of my good friends, Ross. He's a average looking guy, right? And he has a beautiful Thai wife. So and it's because, and it's just because of the less threatening demeanor that comes off, whereas in the Philippines, I remember I dated a girl and she was like, "Why are you so nice all the time? Be mean to me." She really said that. And I was like, this is not going to work out. Because I'm not going to be mean to you. I'm in your country and you are a national citizen. And if you go tell, PNP or Thai police or whoever the case, I'm not Thai, but Philippine police or what, barangay police, whatever the case may be, they're going to take your word for it over mine. So, bye-bye.
So Maxwell says, I did a full-scale budget for our Thailand move, far more in depth than those cost of living videos everyone posts. You need about 31,000 to make the move, so save up that money by age 50. 31,000 to make a move to Thailand? I don't think that's a lot of money. I'll tell you what.
I moved to Thailand on $1,700.
And of course, you were in the Philippines already, so you weren't.
I was already in the. I moved to the Philippines with $800.
Wow, you're brave.
Yep. But I already had an Airbnb book, and I had my flight book.
Oh, okay. So that was already paid for.
Right. Which the flight was like $1,200, and the Airbnb. I stayed in 2 Airbnbs for the week, which were, I don't know, I think they were around $250 at total after all was said and done, taxes and everything. So, 31,000. That's all. Listen, if you don't remember anything else, the weird looking dude with glasses said on Gio Stream today, remember this. Cost of living and cost of moving is whatever you want it to be. Okay? Your cost of living is how much do you want to spend. That's pretty much cost of living, or how much can you spend. Cost of moving, same thing. Do you want to fly first class or do you want to fly economy? Do you want how much stuff do you want to bring with you? How much stuff do you want to buy when you get here? And I will tell you, buying when you get here is a much better option than bringing stuff with you.
I agree.
For so many reasons.
I agree. I had one check-in bag, my backpack, and laptop. That's what I had. And
I had the 2 check roller luggage things and a backpack. That was it.
Yeah, that's all you need. So that guy says, am I nuts to be hopeful that inbound tourism will reopen to Thailand before too many months? It's feeling like it'll be sooner rather than later. Am I right?
Yeah,
Well, I guess
we answered that this morning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was June. Right now, Thailand has moved the date back to June.
End of June, right? Yep.
End of June, yes. End of June.
Yep. So Scott says, Gio, thanks for bringing Jeremy on. I have not seen his channel yet, but we'll definitely check it out. The girls I have talked to within Thai flirting all have jobs and have never asked for money. That's the one thing you will notice. You go into a Philippine dating site and you go into a Thai or a Vietnamese dating site, the Filipinos are going to be the ones who are hitting you up for money, typically. So.
And usually, for you guys that are looking to date in the Philippines, let me just tell you what I saw when I was looking to make a game plan, right? And that is, even though I was overseas, they were already starting with the, oh, I can't talk to you anymore because my data plan ran out. Can you send some money?
Right. Yeah, it happens. And they'll ask you for, I want to continue chatting with you. Can you send 1,000p? And I'm like, I live here. I know it doesn't take 1,000p to keep chatting with me.
Right. Right.
So that guy, he said, great collab, you guys, entertaining, tons of great info. So very cool.
Good, man. That's my objective of my channel. So
well, we got 232 watching right now, so awesome.
Wow, that's great. That's more than I've ever had on my channel. So good for you, Gio.
Well, I think maybe you're part of that, the reason why. So
it could be. Never know.
Brian says, have you been to the Mekong River? That's in Vietnam.
I have. Well, it goes by. It's between the border of Thailand and Laos, or Laos, however you want to say it. And I'm not sure if it goes up by Vietnam or not, to be honest with you. But it probably does. But I have been to the Mekong River, and I crossed it at Savannaket. Or I crossed it in, what's the name of that town? Mudakay, I think is the town in Thailand. And then on the other side in Laos, I stayed in Savannaket. So I got to cross that. We actually, my friend and I who went, we were both doing visa runs at the time. And we ate lunch literally on the Mekong River because the restaurant had outside floating tables on the river.
Very cool.
Beautiful, beautiful place, man. Beautiful sunset. It was really nice.
Yeah, I've been to the floating market in Bangkok, and then they cook up the fish on the boat and everything. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Delicious.
I love the food in Thailand. To me, Thai food is the best in Asia. So
I love the Thai food. I just can't eat. I can't eat it when it's spicy. That's the only thing. I have to get everything unspicy. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
So,
okay. See, I can do spicy. So, but I've had so spicy in Thailand, like literally
you cry,
crying and like nose running, and the girl I was dating at the time, she was just like laughing at me. But yeah. So, all business, are you able to get a visa easy if you want to invest in a mobile app startup? I don't know.
In which country?
I guess he's talking about Thailand.
No. There is nothing easy about getting a business visa unless you're a teacher. That really and Mike would argue that point with me because he's convinced that the visa system is not hard. And I don't know how many B visas some people have gotten, but me personally, I've been run through the ringer 2 separate occasions with about 4 different visa runs involved in those. It's time consuming and it's complex, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's difficult. But to try to start a startup company over here in Thailand, first and foremost, you got to have so much capital for every employee you have, and it's usually like $1 million baht worth of capital. Okay, and then for every foreigner you have at the business, you got to have 4 Thai employees that on the payroll. So if you have 3 foreigners working in the business, then you got to have 21, not 21. Why is it?
Mm-hmm.
3 times 4 is 12. You got to have 12 Thai employees working for you.
Wow. So not so easy.
Not so easy.
So Paul ETV, it's cheap to retire in the Philippines. You live like a king. See, I don't completely agree with that statement, because I think for the same amount of money, you can live more like a king in like Thailand or Vietnam or Malaysia or other countries, because the infrastructure is so much better. So
I agree, and that's why, is because the infrastructure is so much better in Thailand. I argue that. Well, I wouldn't argue. I'm just saying I would debate that statement on the principle of what do you consider living like a king? You know, what do you consider that? If it means that you have money to impress your friends and to impress your girls, and you know, you want to live in a nicer place for less amount of money, yeah, sure, Philippines may work for that. But if you really want to live like a king and have the kingish type atmosphere around you, you know, like you're living in a place that would support a king, you're going to do better in a country with better infrastructure, such as Thailand or Malaysia.
For sure. So Maxwell says you also need to partially furnish a house, for example, computer screens, desk chair, linens, towels, kitchen utensils, owning a scooter, but you must have the 800,000 baht. Well, again, it depends on whether you're going to be working there or something else. You know, I don't. Every place that I lived at, the place that I stayed at in Thailand, was fully furnished. I don't think
all my places have been fully furnished too. Yeah.
Yeah. In Vietnam, everything was towels, linens, everything was included, and they even came in 2 times a week to clean and wash the laundry. I mean, all included in the rent. So
wow.
So sorry guys if I don't get to all the questions. We're trying our best, but I can only answer I just kind of have to pick and choose some of the questions, so apologize. But Bob, Jeremy, do you have to report travel to the authorities in Thailand?
I have to make, yes, is the short answer, but that is done via a computer system when I come back in. Like, I don't actually have to go to an immigration office and say, hey, I'm traveling here, because when I travel out of the province of Bangkok, which is where my TM30 is registered. So TM30 for foreigners is where you register your address and all that stuff. When I travel out of, like if I want to go to Pattaya this weekend, well, then the hotel would scan my passport, and they would report that if you go anywhere and stay over 24 hours overnight outside your province, you're supposed to report back. So they would report it to immigration. I don't have to do anything. That's on them. If I leave the country, which I have a non-B visa that allows me to leave the country, all I need to do is at immigration, you can get they'll give you a reentry permit right there as you're leaving the country. Or if you want to make the immigration officers really happy, which is always a good thing, you go to your local immigration and go ahead and apply for your reentry permit there. So when you get the immigration at the airport, it's all in the system, and you just move right through.
Very nice. Okay. And Vietnam was a bit similar to that, where every time you went to a hotel, Airbnb, they're taking your passport and scanning it, and so they know where you're at. Yeah.
Exactly.
Gio, where did you see the news about the possible swabbing, quarantine, etc. for inbound travel to the Philippines? You mentioned it at the beginning of the call. That was on the airline website. I don't know if I still have it open or not. Let me see. I might have closed out of there. Yeah, I already closed out of there, but let me see if I can pull it up real quick here. Meanwhile, we'll get to another question. You guys are much braver than me. I figured I would not dare move out there without having over 100K saved up. Well,
it's a risk you take. It's a
yeah.
risk. It really is. I encourage people. The longer I live here, if you guys ever go watch videos on my channel, particularly live streams that have to do with this topic, I always encourage people to come with an enormous amount of savings, money that you don't have to touch. That's what I encourage everybody to do, used only for emergencies. I want to say one thing about Roy. Roy's comment at the bottom down here, Gio, I just happened to catch it. And he mentioned amnesty for everybody until the 31st. So that's Roy Gold. And let me explain what he's talking about. At the moment, Thailand is officially doing your tourist visas or your 90 days check-ins for you, or they're waiving them because of being stuck in Thailand. That all ends July 31st. That all ends July 31st. So that is, if you are in Thailand, your amnesty is up July 31st. That means get your butt to an immigration office and find out the exact day you need to leave based on your visa. It doesn't mean you get to stay till the 31st. It just means that the amnesty goes through to the 31st.
Gotcha. So back to Eves Anders. He asked me. I got it from the Philippines Airlines Travel Advisory. So, so it was on the Philippines Airlines website. So John says, after moving to the Philippines with 800, where did you get more money to live on? If you want
that was at the time. That was at the time when I was collecting benefits for monthly income. So I had monthly income coming in to the tune of about $1,400 a month, and I could have lived very comfortably in the Philippines on that, but I just decided I wanted more, and my health was improving, and I made I made a conscious decision to work my way off of that government help that I was getting, and decided to go to work and bust my butt like normal people and get back into the real world, because you can't live off $1,400 a month and not be able to make any more money forever. That's not much of a life.
Yeah. Roy says you can pay an agent a fee and they put 800,000 in the bank on your behalf.
Don't do that. That is a bad idea for so many reasons. So this whole thing about using agencies here in Thailand, listen, they don't put 800,000 in the bank on your behalf. Okay, they put something that looks like 800,000, or they have a connection at the bank that will digitize 800,000 at the bank on your behalf. But you don't actually have 800,000 baht in the bank in your name with certificates coming in. I know a guy that just did this. Just got his retirement visa that way, using an agent. Cost him $1,000 to get it. I'm very interested to see what happens when he leaves the country. I'm very interested to see what happens when he has to do a 90-day check-in and they go through all his paperwork. I'm really interested to see what happens, because there are some real horror stories here on an agent. Most of the agencies here are not legal, just so you know.
Yeah, gotcha. That's good info to know. Don't use an agent.
No.
So Kelly McGee says, I've been using Date in Asia for a while and never even now had a Filipina hit me up for money. I think it happens to the older guys. I don't know. I think it happens to everybody. I think you're lucky though.
I think you're lucky. I used Date in Asia before I came, and even while I was in the Philippines. I used that, and some girls hit me up for money, some girls didn't. It's very easy to block that kind of thing. I see you, Cody. Okay.
So KP says, what are the work hours like in a school in Thailand? I worked 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and 9 to 1 Saturday out of college in Malaysia during the 90s. So what kind of hours?
We work 7:30 to 4 p.m. right now.
Okay.
That's subject to change. It could be 7:30 to 7:30 this year.
Would your wages go? Would your wages go up if that happens?
Probably not. Probably really? Not. Probably not. Yeah, it's but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna go on with the pay system, that kind of thing. So those of you that are interested in questions like that, I encourage you just to come over to my channel because I keep everybody up to date. You know, I basically created like a family over on my channel, and you guys are welcome to become part of that at any time. But I keep them up to date on what's going on. Like when I get off here, I'm going to have a live stream there to explain to them what to expect over the coming months.
Cool.
You know.
Well, if it's okay with you, we will go 30 more minutes to make it just 2 hours. Is that,
That's fine.
Are you
yeah.
Okay, cool. And at some point, I will join Jeremy on his channel, maybe in a week or whenever you want, Jeremy. Just let me know.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
So stuck in Florida, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. The Mekong goes through. Okay, that's what I thought. I remember
Thanks,
the
Doug.
name. Yeah.
He's always got good answers to everything.
So Roy says the Thai government may make getting visas easier to increase tourism, hopefully.
That is a very valid point, Roy. I know for a fact they're going to have, well, I don't know there's nothing factual. You can't say I know for a fact because it could change. I know for a fact there was an idea presented to the Ministry of Tourism. I think that's what it's called. To have long stay tourist visas, like 6 to 9 months, maybe, that kind of thing. So, and they were talking about having like special packages for these tourist visas where you could get excursions to some places and some medical benefits. I think sorry if you guys are hearing the sirens outside. I don't know what's going on here, but
yeah, can you ask them to stop, please, Jeremy?
Yeah, I told them to move on, so they went away.
Perfect.
But yeah, it's I would say, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. So that guy says, I also can't deal with spice. Do you have to memorize non-spicy dishes, or do they know how to make things to varying taste most places?
You can memorize non-spicy dishes, or you can just simply say my pit. So if you tell them my pit, then they know that means no spicy. If you direct translation, and just tell them, point at me. There's a way to say it, like I don't want spicy food, but I don't know how to say that. So I just say my pit, right? And I just look at me like this, And if you use the same people over and over, they'll know already. Like there's a guy I used for lunch. He's a street food vendor pretty much every day. Not every single day, but I've been there enough that he knows who I am. Yeah. So when I come in, if he's got new dishes laying out, then he'll go, my pit, my pit, my pit. So he because he knows I don't eat spicy food.
Right. Gotcha. Well, Robert says, are Thai women not as forgiving towards overweight men as they are in the Philippines? We actually kind of talked about this. We actually said they're more forgiving, right?
I would say that they're a little more forgiving, yes. Again, you have to look at the so dating in Southeast Asia is like a math equation, okay? So or a balancing act, you could say balancing act. If you have a really, really fat guy with a ton of money, okay, that's gonna balance out for the girl. All right, she's gonna be okay with that. That would apply to both countries, I think. But if you're like me, just a little chubby, not super overweight or anything, but that kind of, it fluctuates with the girl, her perception, and then if you make it, at least here in Thailand, you make the girl laugh, you're in there. If you have common interest, you're in there. Try to speak Thai, you're in there. Even if you don't know how, try to speak Thai, you're in there. And most of these girls are super duper nice over here that I've met too.
Yeah. So Erico says, you two, that Mike guy, Olivia Osaf, should be in the same podcast. I tried this the other day, a few days ago, with two guys. It's a bit too much when you have three people on, because you kind of talk over each other. And I think 3 on the live cast is too much. I think just 1 is probably sufficient. So I probably won't ever do 3 of us on at one time again, because it also slows down your bandwidth too. So
it does slow down the bandwidth, but you can go to my channel and see the live stream that I did with Rike and with Mike.
Okay.
We had 3. We had 3 people on there. That was 2 weekends ago, I think, maybe 3. It was on a.
Did it work out okay with like 3 over?
It worked out great. It worked out great because Rike was eating his breakfast, so he was he had his girlfriend making breakfast, and so he was kind of in between there, and I would ask direct questions to each one of them, and then I would respond. So we would just kind of go in a circle, talking about whatever somebody had said, that kind of thing. And it worked out fine for me. But for other people, it doesn't work. And you're in the Philippines too, which means there is no such thing as real powerful internet unless you get some kind of super. Is it PLDT or PDLT? I can't remember.
PLDT. Fiber.
Yeah.
Luckily, that's what I have. So here I will stay put until I'm able to leave. So.
Gotcha.
Roy says, to live comfortably in Thailand, I would budget 100,000 baht a month. What would you budget, or what do you usually budget a month, if you don't mind sharing?
I don't mind sharing. Between my YouTube income and my salary, I usually have my teaching salary. I usually come out with somewhere between. Let's see. Hang on. Let me do the math in my head real quick. 3,000. So from about 55 to 60,000 baht a month.
Okay.
Is a real comfortable living. My apartment here is 9,000 baht, so that's $300 US. My motorbike is 5,000 baht, so that's about 160 US dollars roughly. And then my internet and my Thai phone, I have 2 SIM cards in there. All of that comes out to be about 3,000 baht, which is another $100. So you're looking at 3, 4, 5, 6, and then groceries and everything. You're talking about another $500 roughly. So you would be talking about $1,100 would be your living, but that's not. I don't drink or anything like that, so that really helps on my budget. So at that level, I'm looking at, that's about $1,100 is just a little over. It's about 32,000 baht a month or something like that. So if I'm making 55. Even I do see a doctor and I do have medications to pay for, but it still leaves me a little bit left over. And the truth of the matter is, guys, when you come over to a place like this, and you have to work like I do, it's just like working in the West. You got to get up and go to work, and you have to come home, and you don't have enormous amounts of time to do anything. You can save your money for your vacation days, but you don't really do you just don't do the whole I got plenty of time, plenty of money. When I go to work, when I get off work, I'm tired. I'm mentally exhausted from my job, and it's going to be that way if you come over here to work. So 100,000 baht a month would be great. You would have no worries. You could do whatever you wanted to on 100,000 baht a month, but that's an extraordinary number, and I don't think I'll reach that anytime soon.
So not totally necessary. Not for everybody.
No, definitely not.
So again, there's a lot of questions pouring in. I can't get through all of them. I'll just try to pick out the ones that have more to do with our topic here. So let's say, so John says, I agree with Mike House, 100K US saved up or bust, unless you can say that you have a reasonable monthly income stream, then you can make in Southeast Asia on a lot less. Yeah, I don't know if you need 100K saved up unless you're not working. But if you're working and you have steady monthly income, I don't think that's necessary.
I think he's saying live. I think he's saying live on 100,000 US dollars. But the fact of the matter is, you need a lot more than that if you're going to retire on that. I mean, if you're going to live here. My friend Ross did a video on my channel. If you go to my popular videos, it's in there. It's called The Exact Amount of Money You Need to Retire in Thailand, and it's not an exact amount of money you need to retire in Thailand. It's a formula for the exact amount of money you need to retire in Thailand. So if you want to come over here at age 50 when you're eligible for a retirement visa, it's a formula for you to plug in your own numbers and see how much money you would have to have saved up just to live off your savings, not have to work or not have to do anything.
Right. It's going to depend on your age and your health as well. So
definitely.
All right. Let's see here. Alan, Gio, or your guest, what is your best way to protect my money in the Philippines? A money belt or safe? Well, don't carry a bunch of money on you. I don't care if you're stuffing it in your shoe, your sock, a money belt. Me personally, I figure, okay, I'm going to spend, whether it be in baht or pesos, whatever I'm going to spend, I'll take maybe double that, just in case there's some kind of emergency. And I certainly don't carry all my credit cards and bank cards in my wallet. I carry one. And then the rest I just kind of lock up and lock at home. And I feel safe enough in my apartment here that I'm not worried about somebody breaking in and stealing. And I think the same in Thailand, probably. You don't want to carry a lot of money on you ever, right?
For me, it's so much safer over here that it doesn't really, like, sometimes it's necessary for me to carry a lot of cash, rarely, but sometimes it's necessary.
Sure.
And when I do that, I don't feel unsafe. I don't feel threatened. I don't feel any of that stuff, because Thailand is a place where you can park your motorbike, put your helmet on the handle, and go in for a day at the mall and come out and your helmet's still going to be there. You can't do that in the Philippines. So
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the way Thailand works. Thailand's very, very, in my opinion, it's 3 to 4 times safer than the Philippines in terms of petty crimes and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. I felt very safe there walking around. Vietnam, I also felt very safe there too.
I've heard good things about the safety of Vietnam as well.
All right. Okay. Well, we got, let's see here. Danny Williams says you need 3,000 USD to live in Thailand. Again, well, I think Jeremy just proved that you don't need that much. I will never have that much monthly income unless something changes in my life. But so I don't think it's necessary. I think you just need to have. It depends on what kind of lifestyle you live.
3,000 USD is a little over 90,000 baht. So, no, you don't need that. If you want to, if you're retired and you don't have anything to do all day and you just want to travel the country and that kind of thing, then yeah, 3,000, 3,500, I might do it. I've had some months back in the day when I started YouTube, got over here, had a couple videos go. Well, one video go completely viral, and a couple go semi. I made enough money that I made it. The closest I got to 100,000 was 98,000 baht. I made 98,000 baht total 1 month with my teaching salary and YouTube. So, and that's just the AdSense from YouTube that I'm counting. So the good thing about it is, I like it when people. It makes me feel good to see people come over and have at least more than one stream of revenue coming in. That I think that is a big part of security and mental stability.
I agree. I definitely, as far as teaching, especially if you're going to teach online, you should have a couple of jobs just in case one goes belly up, or you work for these companies, you never know when one could just say, sorry, we're letting you go.
Exactly.
So it's good. It's good to have a couple streams of income here. Yeah.
Yes.
Ernest says you have to have a lot of patience when you're in the Philippines because everything's so unorganized. That's true. It is.
No argument there.
Yeah. Cinnamon rolls every day. Hey guys, how's the medical field for foreigners in the Philippines? The medical field, as far as like working in the medical field, I think you would have a very hard time finding a medical job here. The Philippines produces just tons of nurses that they send all over the world to go work in hospitals. So to bring people here,
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you would be likely to get a good working job in the Philippines there in the medical field, because they typically export their medical, some of their best.
Yeah. JJ says, I think he was replying to somebody, but he said, I guess I better become a student and take a cooking class for now. I guess he's talking about in Thailand as far as a visa, because that's an option, an education visa for learning Thai. I've even heard cooking and also even martial arts, right?
Yep. There's a Muay Thai visa. There's a educational visa. There used to be a self-defense visa, but that was so much of a joke that Thailand stopped doing it. But you have to remember, on those visas, you cannot get a work permit. So you've got to have money coming in from somewhere else in order to sustain yourself, or you've got to have a ton of savings to sustain yourself, because the fact of the matter is, while that sounds like a good idea, getting a 6-month education visa and studying Thai and that kind of thing, you better have money coming in from somewhere, or a chunk of savings, because you cannot get a work permit on those visas. You will need a non-B visa for that.
Could you convert? So let's say you came over and you're learning Thai, and then you found a job. Could you switch over?
You could convert, but for the most part, it's almost not done ever in country. It does. You can do it, but it's too much trouble for Thai immigration. What it amounts to. So what you do is you would have to go out of the country to a Thai consulate or embassy, and then you would come back on a tourist stamp or tourist visa, and then they would convert that visa at immigration to, or I'm sorry, you would go out and you would apply for the non-B or whatever category of visa you wanted and pick it up at the consulate, come back to Thailand, they would stamp it used, so it's good for 90 days, and long as your job or employer or you get all the paperwork taken care of within that 90 days, and they can get your 1-year non-B and your work permit, then you'll be good to go.
So Scott says, hey, I thought Asian women did not care for beards. I will say, in my experience, most of them don't like facial hair, but what do you have to say about that?
I would say most of them don't like facial hair. However, typically I don't look this shaggy either. Usually I keep it trimmed up pretty good. However, every girl that I've dated in Southeast Asia has dated me with a beard. And why, I get that a lot. Usually I get, I'm not saying you are, Scott, but usually I get comments like that from trolls on my channel, and I just laugh it off because I'm like,
Yeah.
if you only knew, you know, like it's really not that big of a deal. They would probably most Southeast Asian women would prefer a clean shaven
Right.
guy, but I just look retarded with clean shaven face, so I don't know.
And I look retarded if I had facial hair. So I can't even, at 48, I still can't even grow out like a total, I don't know. I just don't.
I can grow a full beard in a week. It's no
Really?
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't do it. So Danny Williams, or I'm sorry, Stuck in Florida, responding to Danny Williams. I know someone that has lived in Thailand for 10 years and 1,200 a month. I don't think it'd be a problem, honestly.
You can do it, especially in rural areas. In the rural areas, you can definitely live on 1,200 a month easily, no problem.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to go another 15 minutes. I'm going to try to get to as many of the last questions as I can. Over 260 watching, so awesome.
That is awesome. I don't think I've been on a live stream with that many people watching.
Me either. No, actually, I had Rike on, and I did hit.
Yeah, you guys were in the 300s. I popped in your chat for a minute and saw you guys. Yeah.
It was almost too crazy because I couldn't even attempt to even scroll through all the comments. So there's a point where it's almost too much, where you can't even get to the comments. So yeah, 200 is a decent number. Let's see here. Okay. Oof. Lots of comments. let me get to one. I'm trying to get to let's see here.
I'll answer Carlo's question real quick, and you can pick out something else.
Sure.
I'm from North Carolina, Carlo, and of course that's in America. But North Carolina in the Charlotte area, and that's where I get my Southern drawl from.
Okay. Miss V Diary says, I heard Thailand is becoming so strict when it comes to visa for expats.
It is. It is stricken. It really is stricken the visas a lot. Its parameters became. They implemented a bunch of old laws that were on the books, but they didn't use for anything, and they have become very strict with that. 100%.
Gotcha. So Sean's asking, did you finance, buy, or rent your bike? But I think somebody says you're leasing your bike, right?
I'm renting my bike.
Renting, okay.
Yeah.
Can you get financing in Thailand? It says.
Yes, but you have to have a work permit.
Okay.
To get financing, and you also really need a Thai person if you want to finance something huge. You know, large number.
Do you budget for medical care, HMO, and insurance? I think you already said you have medical insurance.
I already have insurance. Yeah, it cost me about $1,200 a year.
Okay. And Maxwell, I've been to Thailand many times, but only for 3 weeks or less. Each time my data, I don't know how to. Laotian girl. While they're curious if Thai girls are happy to move in with their foreign boyfriend.
That depends on what kind of Thai girl you got. If you got a working girl, she's very happy to move in with you because you're taking her out of her, 1,500 baht or 2,000 baht non-air conditioned room that she lives in, and then she's living with you. But you got to remember, she's still working. And then for your office working girls or girls that just have regular jobs, that kind of thing. They usually don't want to move in with you until you're ready for them to move in, or until they're ready to move in with you. So, it's a little bit different from the Philippines, because I'm pretty sure in the Philippines, I would say the vast majority of Filipinos would be eager to move in with Frank. Yeah.
For sure. It's an upgrade. They get aircon, they get Netflix, they get hot water. Yeah. So, but often, like the girl that I was with in Thailand, she had it was a small little condo, but it was nice. It had hot water, hot shower, aircon, cable TV. I mean, swimming pool and gym at her condo. So
Right.
it's not like she's moving up in the world by moving into your condo. She's getting the same
Exactly.
thing. So
Exactly.
which is a good thing. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
He says, no doubt, but if they have a normal job, seems they might be less willing to move in with a province than a province girl in the Philippines. Yeah, I think so.
That's fair.
Yeah. Let's see here. So yeah, no, I wouldn't carry a bunch of money here in the USA, and I don't carry a bunch of money in Thailand. Yeah, same thing. I mean, would you walk around with a chunk of money? I mean, no, if you go to the ATM in the US and you got to take out a bunch of cash for something, for some reason, of course, in the US, who really carries cash anymore? You can just swipe everywhere you go at the pump
Right.
and everything. But you don't really, you wouldn't do that in Asia either. I mean, there's not really any need for it. So let's see here. So Michael Gonzalez, is 5K a month US enough with a local trip every 3 months? I hear all sorts of ranges. 5K
Yes,
a month.
$5,000 a month in US dollars, and either one of the countries we're talking about on this live stream is more than enough.
Yeah, you could live like. Then I would say
That's where you get it. That's where you get into king living.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
5,000 a month. Yeah.
For sure. Let's see. Scrolling down through the comments, we got about 10 more minutes here. Do they hire Westerners as English teachers in the Philippines? Rarely, very rarely, because the Philippines, they already speak English, even though I would argue it's not great English. They do mess up a lot. There's some that speak phenomenal English, so I don't want to say there's some that don't speak great English, because there are some, but for the majority, most Filipinos do not speak phenomenal English. It's a second language still to a lot of them. But I was actually training Filipino teachers for 2 years in Cebu, but it was a rare job. I just kind of landed. I fell into it, so it's hard to find a teaching job here. Eric Ko, 2,000 per month is enough to live in Thailand. 3,000 per month would be better.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, of course, more is always better.
more is always better when it comes to money, but $2,000 a month will get you. You can live a comfortable, very comfortable life on $2,000 a month.
Right. John saying, how much USA cash do you have to put in the bank for a Thailand visa?
You only have to put it in for a retirement visa, and that retirement visa is 800,000 baht. I can't remember what the conversion on that is right off the top of my head. So that would be, hang on, I'll tell you in 1 second.
So 33.
Probably, let me just clear it out real quick, because he wants to know how much. He wants to know how much USD, yeah? So, clear there, and we'll go 800,000. Done. So you're talking about basically $25,000 in the bank.
Right. It's a good
For
chunk of
retirement
money.
visa. That's why people lean on the elite visa a little bit more, because elite visa is only a little over $15,000, because it's 500,000 baht, and you get it for 5 years. You don't have to worry about. I don't think you have to worry about 90-day check-ins and all that other crap.
So the elite visa, 15,000. They also require a monthly income, right? Like, how much are they requiring that they show that you can?
Not to my knowledge. Not on elite. Yeah, not to my knowledge.
What else goes on with the elite visa? What else besides 15,000? Is it?
Well, it's basically what I said earlier. It's basically just a tourist visa that's it's like a premium version of a tourist visa. The only difference is you get it for 5 years. It's multiple entries, so you can go in and out whenever you want to. You get concierge services from the airport, special taxi
Wow.
services. You can get some medical stuff for free, not necessarily insurance, but like,
Hmm.
physicals, that kind of thing. And it puts you in or puts you in a category that when you come into the country, you really don't have to worry about going through security and all this. I mean, you have to go through customs, of course, and that kind of thing, but you're not gonna. It's almost like having the pass in America, right, where you just scoot right
Right.
through, and that's pretty much what happens with an elite visa.
Now, I know, like, let's say somebody just wants to come in as a tourist, but they want to stay longer than the normal 30 days that you get, with no visa required. Before you come to Thailand at the Thai embassy, I believe you can get 60 days. And then when you're in Thailand, extend for another 30, giving you 3 months there. Is that correct?
Okay, yeah. So there are two ways to, if you're a Western, like an American or Canadian or Australian, that kind of thing,
Hmm.
or you come from the UK, any major Western country, you can come in to Thailand with no visa, and they will stamp in your passport a
Hmm.
30-day visa exemption. So you are in lawful status in Thailand with no visa. All right.
Okay.
And as that 30 days comes to an end, you can get one extension on that stamp. So you can
Hmm.
get another 30 days. Okay. Now, the other way to do it is at that point, you could go out and get a tourist visa, come back in. Okay.
Hmm.
But the other way to do it is lawfully right now. I'm sure this is going to change with some of the long term stuff, but lawfully right now, you can stay in Thailand on a tourist visa or visa exempt status
Hmm.
for up to 6 calendar months of the year. Okay. So you could essentially get a tourist visa at a Thai embassy or consulate in your home country.
Hmm.
Bring that tourist visa when you get it over to Thailand.
Hmm.
It's good for 60 days. Then you go to immigration and you can renew that, or excuse me, you can extend that tourist visa for 30 days one time. And then you would have to go out of the country, get a new tourist visa, come back, and you can do the same thing again for a total of 180 days or 6 months. So that's what they're looking at
Okay.
for the way people come in over here. They don't want you staying here if you're not contributing anything other
Sure.
than money.
Okay.
You know,
So you could at least potentially do 180 days. You could do 60, go to the Thai embassy outside of Thailand. I think you could even go to Vietnam and go to the Thai embassy. Get the 60 days, come in, and then 60 days you can extend one time for 30 days. And then you
in
could
country.
in
Yeah,
country. And then you could fly out again to Vietnam or Laos or something and apply again, get another
correct.
60, do extend one more time for 30. And so really you could do 6 months in Thailand, just as a tourist if you wanted to.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then that would give you time to slowly look for a job or maybe look into other things or
Oh yeah, you
yeah,
could do all kinds of stuff. You could tour around for the first
yeah.
60 days. You could yeah, plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Lots of time to get in trouble.
That's right. That's right. Lots of time to go bankrupt too.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, let's see here. I think we are gonna answer two more questions. I think we're gonna call it a day.
Okay.
Uh, I know you want to live stream over on your channel. So guys, when this is over, you guys could go check out DoMoreLife and check out his live stream. So
For sure.
I might stick around for maybe another 30 minutes just to answer the last few questions about the Philippines, and we'll probably end it. So, uh,
Understood.
Jimmy, in Thailand, does the monthly income have to be going into a Thai bank, or can you show it going into a U.S. bank? I think.
That is a question that I do not have the answer to. Because there was a time when it had to come into a Thai bank, and then
Mm-hmm.
I had reports of they just have to show proof of income coming in to wherever your home country is bank.
Okay.
But ultimately, I I've learned a lot about the Thai government system and immigration. I would say it would be my suggestion to you that it would be a Thai bank you would need to show that coming into.
Right. Gotcha. We'll do one last one, and then I'll let you get over and do your live stream, and I'll wrap it up here. I'll just do maybe 30 more minutes of answering.
Gotcha, man. No problem.
All right, last question for Jeremy. He says you can buy a new scooter with automatic, etc., for 63,000 baht and sell it a year later easily for 48,000, first year insurance and tag included with the purchase. Do you think that sounds right?
Yeah. For maybe a Click 125, you can buy it brand new for about 63,000 baht. That's about correct. And you could probably sell it a year later. Yeah, you could get about the same because they hold value very well over here. So you could get about the same out of it. I haven't in-maxed that I rent. So I like to have a little bit bigger bike for many reasons. I had a 125 in the Philippines, and it's just better to have a little more power and a little bit bigger bike over here. In Thailand, I see this question on the screen right now. Can you come into tour as a tourist and convert to a school? Yes, absolutely, Shauna. That's how I did it. That's how the vast majority of most people do it, to be honest with you.
Did you have to, once they said, okay, yeah, we're going to hire you and they do the visa, do you have to leave again and come back in?
Yeah.
I heard that, right?
So when you got, anytime you're converting from one visa to another, you're going to need to leave the country unless, like, if I'm working in Bangkok, I already have a non-B visa and a work permit. If I change schools in Bangkok, they can convert that visa, or not the visa and the work permit, over to my new place of employment, as long as I'm in the same province. They couldn't do that when I came from Rayong, because Rayong is a different province. So I went to Malaysia, and I didn't go to get a tourist visa or anything else. I just went to get a 30-day stamp. So I went out of the country, canceled my old visa. I turned in my work permit, and then went to Malaysia overnight, came back to Thailand the next day, showed the immigration officer the intent to hire letter, and he stamped me in. I was good to go.
Perfect.
So yes, you can definitely do that.
I guess one more question on Thailand that you can answer. I can't. He says, Running Man 21, I don't think you can touch that visa deposit. Also, good luck getting it back from the Thai bank, as some people have had a hard time getting their visa deposit back.
I think he's correct on both those. I don't think you can touch it either. But I don't know about the getting, and they're stuck. Stuck would have a good idea. I trust his judgment very well. He's a moderator on my channel and a channel member. I trust him a lot, and he says, but he's never had a problem getting their money out of the Thai bank. So I guess that would just depend on the bank and the situation. You know.
Yeah.
That's probably the most real thing I could, or the realest answer, for lack of a better term, that I could give you.
Sure.
So, Gio, thank you so much for having me on your channel, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
For my guys that are in the chat, it'll probably take me about 10 minutes to set up a live stream. I'm just going to set up a live stream. It doesn't have to be anything long. I'm going to let you guys know what's going on, because yesterday I found out some major changes that are coming up. So if you want to come over there and join me, you can, or you can watch it on the replay if you want to continue watching Gio here. And I really, really appreciate you allowing me to come on, Gio. Thank you very much. And you'll definitely be on my channel at some point in the near future. So with that being said, I'm just going to hit leave the studio here, and I will talk to you via chat probably at some point today.
We'll meet up for a coffee in Bangkok when things open up.
You got it. Sounds good, man.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Okay, take care, man.
All right, bye.